Creature Commandos finale.
Yes. The end of the first DCU project.
Set up lovely for season 2, which we now know is
Yes.
happening.
Yes, indeed. I mean, R.I.P. Nina.
Yes. So this is what I was going to ask you. Did you feel like it was rushed at all at the end? Because I have some feelings, but they're a little conflicted.
Yeah. I don't think it was rushed. I do think the pace suddenly went quicker, but I think, in a way, partly intentional because it's like the story was leading up to, like we said last week, everyone's going to reach this point of don't kill the princess while they're trying to kill the princess, and it's going to be this kind of rush panic to stop it. And I guess that could then come across as the show felt rushed because all these things kind of happened very quickly. I think the unfortunate thing is we got Nina's backstory mixed in with this episode. So maybe that's what added to people feeling it was a bit rushed.
Maybe. I think I agree. I think the pacing change throughout the episode did make a lot of sense to kind of build that sense of urgency as we're getting to are they going to kill the princess? What's going to happen? And then obviously they get the message, call it off. It is too late to save Nina, but they get the message. And then that brings the pace right down. And I get what you're saying with the story there. And I do think that's what they were going for. I think they just missed it slightly. It felt less like they're upping the tempo and more like they started upping the tempo and then maybe lost a little bit of control and then had to slam on the brakes. It didn't feel perfect in that sense to me. It wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. We've dealt with a lot worse pacing in shows. I just felt like they didn't quite nail what they were trying to do. And I'm definitely more accepting of it because it's clear that that was their intent. This idea of we want to build tension and then cut the tension, and then you're like, oh, okay. But I don't think they quite nailed it.
I was wrong about Nina being the diabolical one.
I really wanted her to be diabolical.
I was waiting, obviously the flashbacks, honestly kind of heartbreaking what her story was. And then it's
I swear every week they just went, do you want a really heartbreaking story? Do you want to see us do it again?
Yeah. But it's I was like, oh, the dad's been killed. I was like, is she about to flip shit and go
I was going to be like, no, free her. They shot her dad for nothing. Let her
I
cook.
was like, is she about to flip out and that's why she's ended up in prison? I'm like, and I guess I'm like, oh no, she genuinely is the only one that shouldn't be in prison.
She was thrown in there because she is a monster.
Yeah, she did nothing wrong, whereas the others all at least. I mean,
committed a crime.
Weasel also technically didn't do anything wrong,
but in the eyes of the law, he's been convicted of an actual crime at least.
Yeah, but he's at least fighting him, I guess. So I think but then it's kind of so smart that they did that because then we get that backstory, and then she's the one that dies.
The only one that should have no reason of being there. She didn't even commit. She not even in the eyes of the law did she commit a crime that she should be in prison for.
No, and at first she wasn't even wanting to be the one to go kill the princess, but then kind of was sold on it by the others.
Yeah.
I just want to say I was right last week in the sense of I questioned to you, I was like, when did Clayface switch? And you were like, oh, it was always Clayface. And I was like, and I just went, I was like, okay, I guess so.
Oh no, it was still always Clayface. No. It was just Clayface's motivations.
No. It wasn't. No, the thing was, it wasn't Clayface in the woman that came to say her vision is real. That wasn't Clayface.
Was it not?
No. That was the reveal, is that it was switched afterwards.
Oh, sorry, I must have misunderstood that. I took that as the reveal was, yes, Clayface was her, but his entire thing was being there on the princess's charge to try and make the situation messy. Maybe I misunderstood.
No, the thing was meant to be, she knew Rick would obviously was hooked on her and would probably try and save her. Obviously, she then sent Clayface to make that situation messy. Last week I was like, it felt like that wasn't Clayface in the like interrogation room because of how different Clayface was acting as Elektra, but when she was actually in the interrogation thing, she seemed somewhat normal. But I was like, and I wish I'd trusted my gut and stuck by that prediction, but oh well. But I mean, the Clayface reveal, I mean, we were right in like, I didn't trust that the princess was, I was like, there's something truthful in that vision, but I wasn't, it turns out it was fully truthful. We saw like the glimpse of that when she's under the water and killing Nina, and like the look in her face, you're like, oh, you're evil. Then she comes up and she looks all like
using the water to have her hair like floating up in a more like maniacal way, and the blood and her just was so cool. I don't know why Nina didn't just like grip her and just sink to the bottom of the floor though. It's like, I can breathe underwater, you can't. If I guess pin you down there, you'll die.
If she just would have kept stabbing though, I guess.
No, I'm saying, right, when she like temporarily loses the knife, why doesn't she just wrap the princess's arms and let them both sink to the bottom?
She's not a killer.
I'll just wait for you to drown.
Here's the thing: she's not. We've learned she wasn't a killer. She kind of just was like, oh, this situation's now gone wrong, and I don't know how to respond in this situation.
Weasel did fuck it.
Yeah. All because we saw how he was picturing the little girl, and then obviously
he went, you look like the little girl.
I really wish they'd revealed it was the same person. Obviously, it wouldn't have made any sense.
Wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever.
But it would have been cool if that's why she hates the US. I thought it was hilarious that Frankenstein rocks up and immediately she just blasts him, and she's just like, you stalker. And I'm like, oh, well, that was over very quickly.
I wonder what James Gunn's opinion on people who stalk women are. Based on the way that was written.
Yeah. I mean, this is jumping to the post-credit scene, but like, I knew for a fact he wasn't dead.
Yeah, no, I think the entire point of Frank... Oh, sorry, that's just reminded me. Sorry, completely forgot. In the study, when she's about to kill the princess, did you see what book she picked up?
No, I didn't pay...
It was titled Mary Shelley.
Oh.
I was like, that's really funny. Having the Bride of Frankenstein pick that up is very, very funny.
But like when she killed Frankenstein, I was like, it almost feels like she's done this exact situation before, and
she doesn't expect that to be permanent. She's just buying herself some time.
She knows this like kicks him to rocks for a while, and then he'll like. She did it so quick, and it was just like, oh, I don't think he's dead. Also, because like he's Frankenstein, I was like, surely bullets don't kill him that easily. But I thought that was funny, and it kind of in the same way that I predicted, if like he just kind of spits out that Rick Flag was, not that they listened to it.
No, I find him rambling on in like the taxi.
Yes,
so funny.
Yeah,
he's like, make love, but not the hard pornographic love, the central stuff that chicks like.
And then the taxi driver's just like frightened. Yeah, no, that's why I'm loving Frankenstein. This he was so
the use of him as comedic relief has been very, very good in the show.
The reveal, like Amanda Waller realizing, oh, we fucked up. So then she tries to, she stops it. Thankfully, Weasel essentially stops it anyway.
Yeah.
But then the bride knows that it's true, but then it's like, oh, I'm just going to kill you because you killed my only friend.
Yeah. She's like, you killed Nina, fuck you.
I can get if people feel like that's a bit quick as well.
But that needs to be like a shock and awe moment.
Yeah, of like her working it, like, because we'd already had the tease of like they've seen something on the cameras. Now, going forward into the DCU, do you think the bride killing this princess is going to have an effect on the bigger story of the DCU? Because you've
I
essentially
don't
had the
think.
US assassinate a princess of a country that we've seen has pretty decent technology.
Yeah, but we don't have a scale of what that is compared to the rest of the world.
True.
I struggle to believe in any world that has technology like that, and the US is still just the US military as we think of them.
Well, yeah.
I
It's
imagine it'll
more
be like a newspaper clipping or like something that Lois is writing an article on in Superman.
it's more like as well considering like that vision. Could that vision still come true?
And that'll be interesting. I am curious to
Because
see how they handle like big events in the DCU because we
hmm,
know the idea is this universe exists. We're going to invite a storyteller in to tell a story in this universe rather than this universe is the story. And
yeah,
I'm curious to see how major events that would affect things actually play out, or whether it's just a case of this has happened, and if we need to explain the US is currently at war at any point, that's a reason we can explain it for.
yeah. I wondered. I think it'll either be a case of saying Superman. There's a thing on the news of um, US clashes with Pelosi, or like currently in talks for a ceasefire or something. Like there's going
Yeah,
to be some nod to, oh look, they weren't happy, they clapped back, and
absolutely.
maybe it in a film or something down the line, like a situation big enough that a superhero has to help step in, and it's like a side thing that happens. Who knows? But I just thought it was interesting because obviously, like, very clearly the US has assassinated that princess. Like,
Yeah,
there's no hiding that. And it's like, does that have a knock on effect for the future of like the DCU world that's going on?
yeah,
Um,
I couldn't agree more. I think that is completely right. And it is interesting to see where it's going to go. It's cool to see what happens with um, the Creature Commandos going forward. We've got a second season
yes,
now. We've got an
the
idea of
setup
what the
of
roster's going to be.
mm,
So, the Bride, Frankenstein, Doctor Phosphorus,
yeah, Weasel.
Nosferatu,
So which one?
Weasel,
It's not
the woman with the bat wings.
the Bat Lady because there was also a
Yeah,
mummy in the background.
yeah. I'm not sure who that is. And GI Robot Mark II.
Yeah, beefy GI Robot and
Yeah.
King Shark.
Yes, and King Shark.
Who made
Um,
as soon as King Shark was out, I was like, everyone enjoyed King Shark's
yeah,
commentary from Suicide Squad, so they've brought him back.
yeah.
Yeah, the we predicted GI Robot wasn't done and dusted. I like that they've brought him back beefier, like he's been upgraded.
So that's been a point of mixed contention for some people.
Okay.
So some people's ones that was like, I don't like when James Gunn does this, and they showed like the beefy Groot at the end of Guardians 3 compared to Guardians 1 Groot, and they were like, I didn't like that change, which is fine, you don't have to. And they were like, and then doing the same thing here, people were like, I get it, I don't like it though. I'd have liked him to do it in a different way. And I get that. I mean, you don't have to like every design for
No.
every character all the time. I'm with you though. I think it's a cool design.
I mean, it gives them at least from my
You
brains
got to have
like
a tank, otherwise, what's the point of the comp? The comp's
well,
fun.
not even that. It's like this is now more advanced tech. He can have more cool weaponry, so you
The
can
Nazi killing ability is so much higher now.
yeah, like you're gonna get some cooler moments from him and Dean in a fight, and he's not just gonna get like they don't want him to get obliterated again instantly. So
Yeah, but it was nice to know that he's okay. He's fine. He's doing his thing. But yeah, solid start to the DCU.
yeah, honestly, yeah,
And
like
it absolutely does give a lot of credence to that idea of you don't have to watch everything in the DCU. Because I'm
yeah,
willing to bet most of this stuff will not matter unless you want to watch season 2. And if you're going to watch season 2, I think it's fair to accept that you should watch season 1.
yeah. I mean, yeah, all that they've done is that kind of has any implication was we were shown Batman already exists, but that didn't really give other than like
That's
he
just a bit of
exists.
world building. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all that is if they want to use Doctor Phosphorus as another villain for Batman again, we
they
know they have a
can.
bit of history.
Yeah. Obviously if any of these characters do show up, like if you haven't watched this, you might not know where they've come from.
It's not a huge issue.
No. Yeah, there isn't really like even that what we were saying about how does this story affect the DCU story. I do think it'll be a news headline thing that just references the
It'll be
US
something that's in there for idiots like us. Go, did you see what's on the? Did you see the headline article?
The animated show is affecting Superman.
Yeah, yeah.
But to everyone else, they probably won't know. So I'll put yeah, I do think it won't massively affect the main story arc that they're going to do in this first phase or whatever. But it was a fun start. I kind of enjoyed that they've started with animation. Gives them a lot of freedom to just kick things off. And I mean, obviously, I think the next thing is Superman, right? There's nothing in between.
As far as I know, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the initial rumor was Waller might come out before it, which is another animated show.
Right.
But I don't believe that's either happening or going to be up for Superman. So yeah, as far as I know, next thing is Superman, which is like less than 6 months away now. Which is
so the next DCU thing will be us diving into live action and kind of seeing how it compares to the animated world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if it has a similar enough vibe that we're like, okay, this world all feels somewhat cohesive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to the future.
Absolutely.